I'm joined with Bill right now, Saginaw Township resident, just an average guy, I say. I've met you online. I'd say average guy, right? You voted in the election, you supported a candidate, you had a sign in your yard, and that's like something that millions of other people did, right?
Yes, sir. I like to think I'm an average guy. I'm an auto mechanic by trade.
Okay.
Uh, I'm just as average as they come. I'm more of the, kind of let me live my life. I'll let you live yours. I'm not here to take anything away from you. Just let me have my own little piece of the pie.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm gonna put a picture up. I think this is your yard. Um, you had two, is it just those two little signs?
Those two little signs. Yes, sir.
So you have those two little signs in your yard, supporting a Trump and talking about Kamala, basically little tiny signs. They're not that big.
Nope,
Um,
nope, they're very small.
and so did you get a letter in the mail recently, or what happened?
Yeah, so actually I was planning on taking them down at the end of I was going to take them down the end of November. In fact, the morning that this happened, the morning that I got the letter, I was actually taking the trash and the recycling to the curb. And when I do that, I every once in a while I'll swing in and grab the mail. And I grabbed the mail and I got a nice thick letter from the township. And they were kind enough to point out that according to Sydney ordinance, I only have 30 days prior to an election and 10 days following an election to display it, or face a $95 fine.
Wow. Is that $95 every day?
It's not specified.
Oh, okay. So had you ever in your life had an art like anything like that with them?
No, no, I mean, they have ridiculous code ordinances for everything else, but
Yeah.
not not like this. I mean, well, speaking of the trash can, you have, that their civil ordinance is you have 12 hours to remove your trash can from the road after pickup, or it's a $95 fine.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Saginaw Township. Boy. So yeah, so the point is you were going to take them down. And so what are you going to do now? Are you going to have you taken them down?
Actually, I had taken them down. They were sitting in top of the trash can, but when you see that lovely letterhead from the township and you open it up and there's a picture of your house and your signs and everything else, I did what any reasonable person would do. I pulled them back out of the trash, stuck them back in my front yard, and they're not moving.
So you actually had them taken down by the
Yeah,
time you got the letter.
yes, I had pulled them up that morning because I figured, it's the end of November, it's time, no big
Yeah.
deal. But then the government had to step in and say, no, we're going to make you do this or charge you for it.
Did they
Sorry,
say
it's my
did,
property.
yeah, did they say if someone like a neighbor had reported you or something, or they probably didn't even say?
Didn't even say, they said as they were driving around looking for violations. So
Oh,
literally, my tax dollars pay somebody to drive around in their car to look for code violations, then send letters and find people who do not get them. Look,
wow.
I'm a reasonable guy.
Yeah.
I could understand if the signs were obscene. I could understand if, and I wouldn't throw it past anybody these days, but I could understand if they were even, shall we say, pornographic in nature. Okay, not to put too small a word on it, but you see some weird stuff in the world today.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I could understand that just simply because I've got kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them exposed to something I have to explain to them.
Yeah, I've seen signs before in Midland. I saw one and someone wrote out, well, it's the F and then a certain president's name, and
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. And even for me, that no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, I'm not putting something obscene in my front yard. It's just not me. But you've seen the pictures. My signs are fairly tame by most standards.
yeah.
Um, I'm seriously considering getting ordering the one off Amazon that says Giant Asteroid 2024 because the way things are going, that doesn't seem like such a bad idea. But I can understand obscenity. I can understand if it was vulgar in nature. even though I get that that is protected First Amendment activity, it does. There's still a line that I think in civilized society we shouldn't cross.
So the point is that that is the ordinance. Apparently, you are breaking the ordinance, but that doesn't mean it's right. That's what you're trying to say.
Correct. Correct. Just because something's lawful doesn't mean that it's right.
And this has
Yeah,
been
or
challenged, I've seen across the country in different cities, and even in Michigan, it's been challenged. So, a lot of people just shut up and just do what they're told sometimes. But this country has it's people who speak up sometimes who make a difference. So, um,
it's kind of the last straw for me, Dan or Dave. I'm sorry. It's kind of the last straw for me. It's you get to thinking about it. Right now, I'm a single income household. I've got a disabled wife
mm,
that I support, and we work off of one income. I get no government assistance whatsoever, and I'm not complaining about that. We live quite comfortably. But it's it's I'm taxed on the money that I make. Then I'm turned around. I'm taxed on the property that I live on, which I will say, you and I discussed before the show. I had a house burned down. When I rebuilt the house, they reassessed my property at the end of that. So I went from paying roughly $1,700 a year to almost $6,000 a year in
wow,
property tax
wow.
because they considered it new construction. Um, so I'm paying tax on top of tax on top of tax, and now the township is saying you don't have the right to your opinion on your front property for everyone to see.
So it's a matter of kind of just taking a stand and getting the word out there that, it's in your opinion not right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like I say, if this had been, you can see my signs are clearly for Trump, and that's fine. But it would have irritated me just as bad. There's a statement that goes around that says, I may not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend your right to say it. And that is what this ultimately boils down to, Dave, is that you may not always like the opinions or thoughts of somebody else, but
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing in this country. Everybody's got the right to speak their mind. You don't have to
Absolutely.
like it, you don't have to agree with it, but you have to accept the fact that it's a free and open society that's part of it. And I don't think the government, I certainly don't think Saginaw Township, um, I don't think their little civil ordinance tends to trump the First Amendment of the Constitution.
Yeah. Maybe someone will see this and a lawyer, who knows? Because it's been challenged in other parts of the state or country. You're gonna have to keep me updated and see what happens.
Oh, I absolutely will keep you updated because my signs aren't coming down.
Nope.
I'm gonna keep them up if, like I say, this is about as peaceful a form of protest as one can find. So
Yeah, that's
this
true.
is this is just about like I say, it's on the principle. I wouldn't care who else had them up. I would 100% feel the same way. I'd tell them to keep them up.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I appreciate it. A lot of people don't even know the ordinance. And yeah, you're gonna keep me updated. I'll bring you back on. And if you end up going to court, maybe I'll go there and get video of what's happening.
All right. Well, I'll definitely let you know as soon as I find out something. I've got a couple feelers out, but
Okay.
of course, it had to happen on a holiday weekend where I couldn't hear anything back. But
Yeah.
we're coming into the next week. We'll see what happens.
Thank you so much, sir.
Appreciate it, Dave. Thanks for having me on, sir.